everyone, and welcome to the Silverstone Grand Prix here in SOR. Sorry for the SLR intro there. It was my mistake. So coming into here, I have the British weather as you would, I guess, and we're gonna get qualifying underway. So here we are for I believe it's round 10. Yes, round 10, the British Grand Prix. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some good fun here. It's gonna be a pretty fun race. Oops, sorry guys. Turn down the sounds. Always forget to do that at the beginning of the race. Right. So we got blue sky and rain, but don't worry, that's just me all tapping. It hasn't actually loaded up yet. Get telemetry, lap data. Let's get everything in here. So everyone's on the full wets as you'd expect. So the first person out, I believe, is Ruthful. So we're going to get the standings up in here. But I believe Ruthful is in the lead of the championship, followed by his teammate, I believe, but I'm checking that now. Let's see, standings. Yeah, okay, so Ruthful is in the lead, followed by his teammate, who's actually not here in today's race. He's the only driver who isn't present. So he'll try and extend his advantage by as much as he can, I'd say. So here, being in the full wet conditions, I don't know how it is in the actual race, but we'll have to see if one of the drivers decide to come in and see. So we're gonna go on a lap with Ruthful here, our championship leader, as he goes through the final corner. Very difficult to get right, so he crosses the line now. So here, traction is very minimal here in the wets as well, but he takes that quite nicely, actually, heading into turns 2 and 3. Takes that quite nicely. Take on board with him here. You don't want to go too wide, and you don't want to stomp on the power 2 brake, as we see him drifting through turns 4 and 5. Heading down into turns 6. I could be getting all my laps, or not all my laps, all my corner names wrong. Sorry if I do. So here we go, heading into the old pit lane. Very old pit lane. Here, very easy to lose the back end though. He actually drifts through the corner, but manages to keep it alive. Heading into the iconic Maggots and Beckett's corner. He takes it with quite a bit of speed, actually. Heading into Beckett's. He's done very good. Oh, he's lost the back end there quite a bit. And actually, there's a 5-place grid penalty for Lewis Badminton for having or for having done a collision, I presume. That's what it is. Heading into, passing Stowe there actually, heading into the final 2 corners. Very difficult to get right, very easy to lose the back end, especially here, even on the dries. And he sets a 1 minute 41.8. The driver to follow him is Vexit, who actually sets a faster time by 0.5 of a second. The next driver is Futuristic to cross the line, heading into Stowe. It's very easy to abuse track limits here, but he seems to be doing fine. Actually, there was more people there saying a lap. I went on the wrong Toro Rosso, but it's still at the top, the same 2 there. We see No, Futuristic isn't anywhere near the current time set by the two top boys. Maple actually slots himself into P4 with a good lap from him, 1 minute 43.2. But Yasin with a 142.17, and actually, wow, 141.4 has set a much faster lap of a 141.8. Or 141.4 actually there, sorry. There's actually Maple there who lost the back end. Okay, 1 second, guys. Right. It's a pretty competitive lap from everyone. Everyone's on an out lap, so we'll stay on board with him. And the conditions actually seem to be worsening a bit as fog starts to show up on track now. You can barely see the drivers. This is treacherous conditions the drivers are currently facing. Hopefully it'll be dry weather soon. So with these poor weather conditions, it actually is spicing up a bit the grid. As we can see, well, everyone's on wets. If it is dry tire compound during the race, you know, everyone will have a free tire choice. And speaking of tire strategy, which I completely forgot, sorry. I'd say with this, try and start on the softs and finish maybe on the hards or mediums, depending on how brave you are. And for those at the back, maybe go mediums to softs. I've completely forgot the strategy. I just did a Hungary race, Germany race yesterday. It was mediums to hards, and I know for a few races from Britain to, I believe it is even all the way to Singapore, it's the same strategy with mediums to hards. So we'll have to see exactly what Rare, you can say. I'll call him Rare. So coming through the final corners now, I don't think it'll be enough for pole position, but it will definitely be enough for maybe a top 10. Yes, he slots himself into 8th place with a 143.8 late 1 minute 48. So now we have David here. We saw him, well, I didn't see him last race because I wasn't there, but we did see him in, I believe it was Canada last race I commentated. Or no, it was France, sorry. David was actually up there. He was doing pretty good there with his teammate Yasin, who ultimately managed to claim, I believe it was P3, P4, I'm not sure. Ooh, David actually losing the back end there quite a bit, heading into the final, the final corner. So heading into turn 1 here, you want to use as much of the track as you can here. Don't want to mount the curb like he did there. He loses a lot of time. Heading into turn 3 and 4, it's a very difficult piece of corners because if entering turn 4 you go too wide or too much to the inside, it will cost your exit. But he actually does get quite a good exit here. Here, once again, cut as much as you possibly can. Heading into the normally would be DRS straight. Braking roughly at the 100-meter board here in the wet tire conditions. It's a pretty solid lap. Ooh, we cut to the inside a little too early there. That will cost him a bit of time, but I think he'll manage to get back on it. Heading into the old pit road before entering the corner before Magus and Beckett's. He takes it cautiously, but he does get a good exit as a result. Heading in to Maggots and Beckett's, the iconic S's on the Formula 1 track. He takes the first Maggots quite well, but the Beckett's doesn't really seem to be there. Open DRS there normally, but due to wet conditions, we are going to have to not have the the DRS assistants heading in the 3. Is it 3? I'm pretty sure there are 3 DRS detection zones, or 2. Either one. It's still assistance quite lost. So here he does go a bit wide, but he uses as much of the track as he possibly can there to get a good exit, heading into the final corner to set a 1:44.0, which puts him into provisional P11. Now, will he go for another lap directly after? I am not sure. But our provisional pole sitter right now, Vexit, who's actually off track, letting people by, is going to start a new lap eventually. So Lewis Badminton, we if any drivers watching the stream, by the way, could let me know if it's a dry or wet race, please. Thank you. Lewis Badminton with a 5-place grid penalty due to an accident, I believe. There's actually a McLaren who's doing a lap right now, so you might stay with him a bit. So KK Hunter, who's about to start a lap, but it's just Almighty who's setting a lap now. I believe he's setting a lap because, well, if he is, he's not really doing too good on his time. At least I don't think. I really don't know the sector times here in the wets and the full wets. Actually, no, it should be reasonably well. He's only... Actually, no, it's not going to be reasonably well. He's only entering the 30s now, so uses all of the track there that could be illegal because before the race we did have, or the leader there, Maple, did have a good talk about using at Stowe all the track there. We'll have to see exactly where that puts him. It puts him into provisional P12. I'm sure that won't be the case eventually, as Lewis Badminton here starting a lap. I'd say we should maybe stay with him and then quickly switch to Vexit, because Lewis Badminton needs to get himself very high up if he doesn't want to start very far back with the 5-place grid penalty. Okay, so thank you, Yasin. Its first few laps will be wet on the intermediate conditions and then dry. So you might see strategies change. Obviously, we'll have a free tire choice afterwards, but they won't start on a fresh compound. So drivers, get used to the wets because you're going to be starting them. So he's actually a second down on his time, so that would put him into provisional P12. I'm sure there's a Lewis Badminton. This is not dirt rally. This is Formula 1, as he's completely drifting out of those 2 corners before entering the provisional corner before Maggots and Beckett's, right? So it is a pretty decent run so far, other than the whole drifting scenario heading into Maggots and then Beckett's. The weather actually has cooled down quite a bit. As we can see, the rain isn't hitting as hard as it did just a few minutes ago. Heading into the back DRS straight after Beckett's. Actually, Vexit seems to be on a flying lap. Nice pun there by me, but it seems to be on a very good lap because he started quite far behind Lewis Badminton to try and give him some space from the dirty air. But as we can see, he's glued to him. So let's just hope he doesn't get hold up too much by this McLaren, who doesn't want to start very close. And actually, he's right behind him, as you can see in the mirrors. So Lewis Badminton puts himself into provisional P8, and Vexit does improve with a 1:41.0 that puts him into provisional pole position. So Lewis Badminton right now, if he finishes qualifying in 8th, that will put him into P13. So everyone 13 to P8 or P9 will be promoted up 1. So it's going to be a very interesting race so far. Oh, someone is going on the intermediate conditions, and that's actually Futuristic, who has set a lap. Hasn't been a good one, but I don't think intermediates will be a good tire choice because it seems that the weather is starting to kick in a bit more. Who is on the lap? So we had GC Fungus, who's just set a lap with a 1:42.717. There's actually a racing point. That's actually Luca, who has yet to set a lap. Is just about to start his lap. So we'll go on with him and I'd say by the time we get to the end, we won't have enough time anymore. We have the rev glitch for Lucas, so we will go in broadcast camera for his laps. He's actually on the soft compound tires. Excuse me, Luca. I just realized he's on these soft compound tires, Luca. Or that could just be a visual glitch, because the soft compound tires seem to be doing really well. I'm almost 100% sure that's a visual glitch, and I really hope that's a visual glitch. But it says he's on the wets. It says he's on the wets there on the left, but here when I look at him, it says he's on the softs. So I have to see exactly how much time he's gaining through these sector times. It doesn't say. Oh, well, yeah, because he hasn't actually set a lap. So if he is on the soft compound tires, well, hats off to you, because he seems to be doing really well. Ooh, he used a lot of the track there. Surprised that wasn't a corner cut. Yeah, I'm 100% sure he is. Ooh, he went wide. Is that invalidated? No, it's not. It's not invalidated somehow, but heading into Maggots and Beckett's, he does have a driver in front of him, so we might have a little tough manual. So Beckett retires from the race, and Luca loses the back end. But no worries, Luca. You still have a minute 30 to set a lap. So we'll go off him for now. But Polar Haze is catching my eye a bit, because he is the only person who is on the intermediate tires. But I don't think he'll be able to set a lap time. I think he went out a little too late. There's a minute left on the clock, and right now you'd only be 20 seconds in, so it might just be there. And it seems like the intermediates are doing him quite good on his out lap. So if maybe Panicoy can get out the way, he was actually on a lap. Panicoy is on a lap, so he is holding up Polar Haze, who's right behind him. So right now, if Panicoy does go really slowly through here and Polar Haze goes quite quickly, you will be holding him up quite a bit. And as we can see, he is holding him up quite a bit. Very unfortunate here for Polar Haze, as he actually had 40 seconds to get to the line. He is having a tow, but I don't know if he'll go for a move. No, he's staying behind. Okay, no, I think he should be fine when it comes to getting to the flag. Might just be just. So we'll stay on board with Polar Haze, the only intermediate runner. Let's see if that will do him any good, or if that will do him bad, as Panicoy, who's in front of him, does not improve on his lap, so that was kind of a waste. So heading into turn 1, let's see exactly how these intermediate tires do for Panicoy. Actually, there are multiple drivers there who just barely missed the line. I know Cosmin is one of them, and the Toro Rosso. So we saw the lap times here was roughly 32s, and he's 5/10ths quicker on these intermediate tires, so it seems to be doing him some good. Round the long corner before entering the old pit straight. It's a very demanding track, Silverstone, especially with all the tight corners and the wide corners and the high-speed corners, like the Beckett's and the one at the pit straight. Also, Stowe's a really tricky corner to get right. So Polar Haze still on his lap. Let's see how much has he improved on his lap time on the top right. He's improved by a second. So yeah, it will put him into provisional P7 if he doesn't improve anymore. So it seems to be a really good lap. I see Polar Haze maybe even sneaking himself into the top 4 there. Maybe top 5, top 6. So Polar Haze will cross the line to take P5. So it's a very good lap from him. It seems like the strategy did pay off. Panicoy going into the pits. And Futuristic, who's on the lap, puts himself into P17, who was a second quicker, but it seems that it wasn't enough for anything out of the top 10. So Lewis Badminton with the 5th place grip penalty will start in P19. So that's essentially just putting him at the back of the grid, or just putting him at the back of the grid, but not fully back of the grid, just at the back duo of the grid, I guess. So he's retired. I'm gonna get a quick sip of water. So, the first two that will be rounding the first grid is Vexit and Wow125. The second grid behind them we have Ruthful Luca. The third grid Polar Haze and R3 Yar. Fourth grid Almighty and Maple. Fifth grid David GC Fungus. Sixth grid Yasin and Pixel. And then the seventh grid we have Vessel and KK Hunter. The eighth grid we have Panakoi Futuristic. The ninth grid R10 and Loose Badminton. And then Loose Badminton with Cosmin, and then Fox R10, Futuristic Pankoi, and KK Hunter Vessel. So we do have a wet start. It's not a full wet start though, it's just intermediate conditions. That's what Yasin says though. Forming up the grid now. Everyone's on. Formation lap's about to start. Everyone's heading off. The pit crew, everything. And we are greeted with a black screen. So we do have some issues. I'd say they will be fixed in just a second. Okay, right, so we're in. Oh, no, 29 seconds. Oh, okay, there we go. So, Fox is left. I don't know if that'll mean a restart. We'll have to find out, though. And oh no. Oh, okay, thank God. We do have our spectator privileges. So Fox is left. Is he starting though? Where's Fox? Fox isn't there, so we'll have to see what happens. So entire combat, everyone's on the intermediates. Go on, see the position change for stuff. I have full track back. Right. We'll turn up a bit of the sound. By a bit, I just mean one level. Right. So we'll most likely have a pretty exciting race. Ruthful, who is our leader, is currently sitting in P3. Maybe not the, what is a pretty good position to be in, you know, being in that podium position. Yeah. He'll want to set his sights on overtaking these top two as soon as he possibly can, for obvious reasons. I'm gonna turn down. Oops. I just saw what assists I use. Nice. Go down a bit. There we go. So they're all automatically forming up now. Heading to Vexit, who is a pretty quick guy, as we all know. I've raced against him multiple times. Always never beaten him once. Actually, wait, no, I have a few times. Weird flex. So as he lines up the grid, Vexit, Wow, Ruthful, Luca, Polar Haze, R3R, Almighty, Maple, David, GC Fungus, Yes and Pixel, Vessel, Lewis Badminton, KK Hunter, Panicoy, Futuristic, and Cosmin. And actually, Lewis Badminton hasn't taken his 5th place grid penalty, so either it was just a glitch or I misread. Either way, we'll have to see exactly what happens. So everyone has now lined up. I'm not getting a good camera angle at all. Okay, now we do. So we have 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And it's lights out and away we go. Vexit seems to have a pretty good start alongside Ruthful, who's actually had a poor start. Heading to the back end, let's see exactly what is going on. Actually, it's David who goes wide, but it seems to be a pretty clean start from everyone there at the beginning. R10 getting 2 positions, but almost instantly dropping back down to 1. Actually, there's a 3 wide there with a Mercedes and a driver, and that's actually Ruthful, who's in P3, is now set to the very back of the grid. Oh, GC Fungus there, maybe, and there's a virtual safety car. R10 spins, Lewis Badminton is off, KK Hunter as well, and a few drivers there up ahead has spun. It's a terrible start from there. The commentator's curse there, jinxing that it was a pretty clean start. Seems I kind of jinxed it. So, Pixel getting a 5-second time penalty already off the bat. So, Ruthful already at the back of the grid there. We'll have to see exactly what he can pull off towards the end of the race. We'll go back to the tires. Oof, and that's actually a Cosmin who's almost hit the sister car of the Toro Rosso in front. So, yellow flags are out. Vexit seems to have a better start on Wow, heading towards the back of the grid. Actually, David on a move on Polar Haze, who's actually put himself quite high up with the only intermediate runner, as they'll head side by side into Stowe. Polar Haze on the outside. We'll give a little love tap there, exiting Stowe, and that could be the whole battle done. Actually, Almighty does an almighty break on R3R, comes back on track to block a bit there. Maple and Vessel right behind him. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there with Almighty, but that was a pretty bad breaking point. Actually, they will go side by side heading into turn 1. This never really goes out, especially in the wets. And Almighty's pushed wide, and they do touch wheels, and Almighty is sent round. That's another spin that we've had, and 3 cars into the pits because of the last lap incident. No virtual safety cars, no nothing, but the top 2 seems to be pulling away now, 2 seconds away from P3. So the top 6 seems to be quite away from Maple, who's in P7, but did get held up. So very unfortunate there for Almighty, who had a bad breaking point there, and it was forced to send wide. And actually, Lewis Badminton and JC Fungus forced a double stack, meaning that he didn't get the best of times. But actually, Ruthful, who's already picking up the places one by one, has put himself into P11. So this is a driver to watch, Ruthful, who at the back, he is quicker than these guys on the wets and on the dries as well. Maybe, perhaps, we'll have to see. He moves towards the back. It is pretty separate, as we can see on the grid. Everyone's a second or 5/10 at least away from each other, except for that pit stop gap there in between the P17 and P16. Pixel going there wide there. I was told to look out for Stowe to see if anyone decides to abuse the corner a bit more than they should. To see what happens. Luca's handed a 3-second time penalty for ignoring multiple warnings. Where is Luca? He is in P3, so his chances of getting on the podium are quite high with his teammate in P11. His teammate isn't far away from him. He's just a corner behind him, but it is only P3 after all. And actually, speaking of the devil, Ruthful actually puts himself into the points. So Ruthful going to get points now if it stays like this. Your 1 point. What he'll need to do, and actually that's Almighty once again, who's done a almighty spun. Sorry, I thought that was a funny joke, but it wasn't. So no one's really in close contention for battling. Everyone's roughly a second away from each other, so we'll stay a bit with Ruthful and see what he does. He doesn't have the fastest lap, I don't think. Let's look at the fastest laps. It's not in here, I'm silly. It's in here. There. Fastest lap. So Ruthful is set at 1:42.5, and the fastest lap is actually 1 minute 40, but I will put the blame on that, you know. Actually, Almighty has spun once again, so I'd say that's his race ruin there. As I was saying with Ruthful, though, he hasn't really had a clean lap so far. He's always been in traffic. I think Almighty will put it into the pits and most likely retire it, but we'll have to see what happens. Actually, R3 here is really close to Polar Haze, entering the first corner. Moving back in there. I don't know when the rain's gonna stop, but if it's the first few laps rain, I'd say for maybe lap 10 these guys will pit for the dries and maybe go mediums to the end. Actually, there's a move there on the back. There wasn't a move, but they're all very close. This fall over the back of Yasin now. GC Fungus passes Almighty, who's in the pit. So this is really the main battle we want to be watching. Also Luca there, who's getting closer to Luca. Might want to stay with him a bit as they enter Maggots and Beckett's. See exactly what they can pull up. But Beckett not being able to pull away as much as he would have wanted to. He is still, I think, good sight, good distance away from him. Actually, there, Ruthful all over the back of Yasin heading into Maggots now. Will we see him take over P9, provisional P9? He is in hot lap mode and overtake mode, and now into medium. So he just wanted to get past as soon as possible, and actually Yasin goes wide. Ruthful sniffs the inside, doesn't get the move done. Heading into second last corner. Actually, there's someone who's boxing. That's Vessel. Will we see him go on the dry compound tires? The rain is slowing down a bit, and actually this GC Fungus who is retired from the session. He's retired on track, so his ghost will still be racing. Now okay, so the rain has stopped, so I'd say he must have boxed for the hards. No, he's boxed for mediums. So he'll be our first dry runner. We'll have to see if it is any good for him. But it seems like the track has dried up quite a bit. There are still some puddle splashes. Seems like everyone is going quite slowly. Yeah, so I think Vessel did do the good move, but we'll have to see exactly how he's coping. A nice little slide there. If I can switch to his view. Okay, so the dries aren't 100% there yet, but I'd say for next lap, it should be just about good. You see Cosmin sniffing the inside there of Pixel, but moving up once again. This move between Ruthful and Yasin is still quite alive. Now, if Ruthful boxes this lap to go on the medium compound tires and try and do an undercut on these guys, because we all know how intermediate tires are on the dries. It's basically like dries on wets, but worse. Because at least on the dries they have more grip. And the wets were designed to have extra grip, I guess. So my point just out the window, but we'll have to see. Will Ruthful and this train of 4 cars box this lap. No. So Wesso really pushing the limits of these mediums. See if they come into play. I mean, he's not struggling too much. I say he's not struggling. Actually, no, I don't know. Well, time will tell. Time will tell. But I'd say maybe after this lap, they'd all want to box. Getting up a bit. Luca, who's getting close. Actually, there's a move at the back there. Actually, that's not a move. That's Pixel, who I thought has spun, but he hasn't. He's waiting for his time penalty to end. And boom. A transition there from softs to medium compound tires. Let's just appreciate how well the mediums look on the Renault, especially in Singapore. They're really lovely. It's actually a McLaren there who spun. That's not a spin. That's just Almighty, who has retired from the track, off track. And actually, Ruthful has lost a position. Hasn't lost. He's gained, but then he's lost right afterwards. See how So is doing on these mediums. He's 34 seconds slower, but a pit stop is roughly 31 seconds here. So he's lost 3 seconds, if I'm accurate. Track doesn't seem to be drying there too much, from what I can tell. Yeah, there's still quite a bit of tire splashes here and there. And actually, that's R10, the other McLaren, who's spun. Very unfortunate there for the McLaren team, McLaren boys. He hasn't lost any of his front wing though, so he'll be able to continue, as everyone will be boxing now for the medium compound tires, I'd say. Yep, even the leader is in. Oh no, the leader is still out. It's intermediates. So I have to see, do these intermediates do the job needed, because we do see there are still some puddles, or by puddles I mean those splashes of water behind the car, so it's not like it's actually panic going on these soft compound tires. So he'll definitely be doing another stop. It could be soft to softs. DRS is enabled, so Vexit, who's I wouldn't say questionable strategy, but I'd say strategy that is it going to pay off at the end of the day. We'll have to see. But he's not the only one who's continued, and there are quite a few drivers who have continued. But ultimately, the mediums seem to be working not too well at the moment. There are still quite a few tire splashes, so it's very up to drivers to decide exactly what's happening. I'm not on track. I'm just a commentator, and I'm watching exactly what's happening. So I'd say maybe box now, and should be good. As Vexit enters the pits. And will we see him speed in the pit lane? No, he reduces his speed by quite a lot. So we're looking at WoW. So we're looking for the Renault, who's actually entering the back straight now. So we'll have to see if boxing a lap early was worth it or not, as Vexit enters his pit box now. It is a pretty long exit though, so he might come out really close. Actually, Vexit going on these soft compound tires, he might make these last to the end. We'll have to see. But WoW making around the final corner now. Will we see Vexit, who's just stomped on the accelerator now? And WoW managed to make it in front of Vexit, not by much though. Actually, they are going side by side, and Vexit has already gotten the move done for P1. So it seems like the dries aren't still the best. Well, not the best tire. There's still a bit of water splashes. But we'll have to see exactly what happens. Everyone's now on the dry compound tires, so the battle for the lead here is definitely on. And Ruthful, who is on the hard compound tires, he'll definitely make it to the end. But those on the mediums, I'm not too sure if they'll be able to make it to the end or not. They might go mediums to softs really late. I'd say the hard tire strategy is probably the most safest tire choice you can get. So Vexit is pretty quick on these. Actually, there's a spin there at the back. That's Vessel, who has lost the back end, who has done a little spin there in the Williams. A lot of people going on the soft compound tires. We'll have to see if their strategy works in the end. Ooh. Getting a big oversteer correction there as he is panic away. A little bit of warming the tires there, I see, by Maple. Luca is the fastest on track so far, but then again, death time. And Vexit with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Pedicoy sniffs the inside, but doesn't get the move done quite well. So the battle for top 3 is definitely on. These top 3 are within 2 seconds of each other. 2.5. Ruthful is at the back there, but he is saying quicker lap times, and that's once again Vessel who has spun. He can't seem to get these tires warmed up as much as he'd like to. There's a battle here, maybe at the top, or at the back, sorry. So DRS now is available. Do keep it going. Cheesy Focus actually saying the quickest lap with a 1:37.2. Ooh, there is actually a move there on the back that might happen. No, Pixel was very close to Hunter there on the back. Straight. So people really close here. It's Maple and Polar Haze. Seem to be I'd say Maple will get the move done on Polar Haze this next lap. He was on the mediums, Polar Haze is on the hards, but Maple might have to stop again as he needs to do another 16 laps with these tires. As he sails past Polar Haze, actually not sails, they are still side by side as they will enter into Stowe. Maple going quite wide and using as much as track as he possibly can. And Maple's got the move done. Actually, that's Vessel once again. He's losing positions. Not by his spin this time, but because of DRS. Let's head back to the front a tiny bit. Actually, these guys are separated now. Not as close as they were. Ooh, there's a move down the inside there. Panicway on Polar Haze, who's on the quicker tires versus the older tires, as they go side by side heading into turn 4 and 5. Still side by side, and Ruthful now being able to see this battle from up close. Polar Haze giving up the position to Panicway. He sees that there's no real use in battling for that, but Ruthful now in a tricky position because they are on the medium compound tires, but will they be able to stick to the end? That I don't know. We'll have to see. Heading past the old pit straight, Ruthful will have the inside line, does make the move stick, but Polar Haze is knocking back on the door and he squeezes him wide there, Ruthful, and Ruthful gets the move done. So for this top 3 now, it has separated quite a bit, mainly because Vexit is on the soft competitors as he set a 138, but Luca by a few thousandths of a second there beats it by 138.0. Let's head a bit more towards the back there. Maple under pressure by Pandacoy, who is on the soft cover tires versus mediums. So will we see Maple leave him by? Yes. Pandacoy drifting there heading into turn 1. Once again, Ruthful might be able to get P7 here on the back straight if these two fight any longer. Let's see exactly what happens. He had a monster run there compared to Maple, heading it down the inside, heading into turn 6, I believe, or 7, or either one. That's him into P8. Now P7 is in front of him, but there is a massive gap in between him and the leaders who are about to pass Stowe, and he's not even entered Maggots and Beggets yet. So the top, if they do pit, Ruthful will be in the lead. We just have to hope that the others pit though. Vexit for sure will be pitting. He's not making it to the end of the softs. On the mediums though, they might be able to make it 16 laps. Like for now it's 16 laps. So that would mean, actually no, it's only 14 laps now, so that means they have to go 21 laps on these mediums. Tire wear on Britain isn't too bad, but it isn't too good either. We'll have to see exactly how the strategy pans out. Actually a potential move there. Oh, never mind. On the map they look so much closer than they do in the race, but then again a few tenths is quite close. So back on these two, they are really close to each other, and Ruthful getting better tire wear and better launches compared to these guys. Either it might be a high downforce strategy, or a very well, or not strategy, setup, or a very well mixed. So Panicway will say goodbye to his P7, I'd say, as he should be able to sail quite easily heading into turn 6. That's Ruthful now, who's going to need it to catch up to Yasin and R3 and David, who are definitely able to be caught up to, but I don't think the top 3 are his main priorities now. I think it's just him trying to climb the ladder as smoothly as he can. So this is difficult, spinning the first corner, but ultimately losing out. It is difficult. Oh, and actually Panicway there, completely unaware I was, as going around the outside, and actually they touch tires, and Panicway actually with a little bit of front weight damage locks up, and Ruthful, they would go side by side heading into the final corner. Ruthful gets the move done. No, he stays around the outside Panicway, but he doesn't overtake him on track. I think he might need to let him go by. No, it was a fair overtake apparently. So Ruthful now having to fight once again for his P7. This isn't good though for him, as it is costing him a bit of time to catch up to Yasin, who's now 5 seconds up the road. Actually, there's a move on the back there with Futuristic and Lewis Badminton there. They might go for a move down the inside, and the Ozone has made the move stick, hang back, and we see Futuristic getting the move done on Lewis Badminton, who hasn't really had the best of races. Ooh, he taps the back of Futuristic there, almost does a Sebastian Vettel on Max Verstappen from last season. Tries to get the switchback, but Futuristic blocks that off nicely, and Lewis Badminton will get a much better run heading into turn 1. Will he sniff the inside? No, he won't. He will stay reasonable, and he'll stay behind. Futuristic defends. He is covering the inside line quite well, but he will have the medium, or he will have DRS. The Futuristic seems to be holding up Lewis Badminton quite a lot as they battle for P17, and Futuristic will be on the inside as Lewis Badminton goes really wide there. So I think Ruthful will be able to keep his P7 for now. Heading into Maggots and Beckett's. We see Lewis Badminton maybe going for a move here on the outside, around the inside, around somewhere. He goes wide there. That will cost him the exit. DRS might be enabled, but I don't think he'll be able to get the move done. Heading more towards the front, Wessel on Pixel, who does not have DRS. Pixel, he doesn't, but Wessel does. Will we see him go for a move? No, he's too far away. But he top 2 there actually in a potential move. No. Very interesting so far the race, and actually these two at the back with some Pixel almost touching each other's front wing and bumpers there. So we'll have DRS and should sail past Pixel, who is squeezing him out. Oh no, that Pixel, Pixel, why you do that? I think that is a pretty dangerous move there. What Pixel does, he's giving his opponent no room. So Will is angry now, we could tell, and goes for a move down the inside. Pixel has a touch tires. We'll get a switchback though, heading into final corner. Will he get a better run heading into turn 1? We'll have to see exactly what happens. Vessel tries to do the old squeeze. Ooh, there's a yellow flag there at the back, and actually that's Cosman who's spun and has sent it into the gravel. I don't know if that's any front wing damage, I can't tell. If it could please not show me the front wing. Please. We'll get back to him. So Vessel will keep his P11 for now. Oh my gosh, showing me terrible cameras. Please! I want to see if his bumper's broken. Yes, his left-hand plate is completely gone. That's a red damage, I'd say, right there. Say the soft compact. Whoa, the Pixel getting a monster run there as I go side by side, passing the old pitch straight. Vessel or Pixel giving the position back because he knows DRS is just up ahead, so he'll be able to get the move done. But on other news, I don't want to go on it just yet. I don't want to see this because I see David or Yasin and R3 getting really close to each other. So Vessel will be defending or not. There'll be a switchback heading into Stowe. They touch, and that's Vessel who's pushed off wide, and none of their front wings are damaged. So luckily for them, it seems to be a bit heated, this battle now, as we go back to the front. Yasin does have DRS. Will he be able to get a move on R3? He's looking for it, but he won't be able to just yet as we go back to this heated battle for P11. Vessel dives down the inside and Pixel completely turns in on him. Heading back, will he get a nice switchback? No, but now Vessel will have DRS and should be able to get the move done on Vessel as they swerve. Heading into turn 6, Pixel, oof, he almost runs into the back of Pixel there. That would have made him spin. Actually, there's a move going for Luke, the side by side. It's for a P1. There goes side by side heading into the final corner. Affects it, and wow, they give each other just enough room there. They do touch tires a tiny bit. And who will have the inside line heading into turn 1? They still are side by side heading into turns 3, I believe it is. Wow gets the move done. So Vexit on the soft compact tires is struggling a tiny bit. But 10 laps on these mediums, I don't know if they'll be able to do it. I think they'll be boxing for the softs soon, and that's allowing Ozone to catch up a tiny bit. But Vexit will get the move done on WoW heading into turn 6, or will he not? No, he doesn't. He's still going around the outside, and actually that's Pixel, I believe, who spun. Is it Pixel? It is Pixel who has spun. I presume their battle has ended off in a spin. I'll check the reports afterwards to see if there was anything heated there that cost. But the battle for lead is still very much alive. Brexit going all sorts of sideways there almost. Into Maggots and Brexit. Brexit? I'm really talking Brexit and Brexit here. Let's see who will get the better exit heading into out of Brexit. WoW seems to have got the better exit, but thanks to DRS, Brexit will be able to catch up. I don't know if he'll be able to go for a big boy send. Oh, he goes for a massive send there on WoW. This seems to be very good there, very well controlled. Will he go for a big boy dive bomb here heading into turn third last quarter? I don't know what the names, but he does have the inside line for his very tricky corner. He squeezes WoW completely outside. But Luca now in the mix, who can see this perfectly well and might just be able to sniff a P1 here. But Luca does have quite a few time penalties under his belt. I know these two also have time penalties, but whoever has the most we'll have to see. So Luca might be able to get DRS here. Well, he does, but it won't be enough to suggest having another go. So. And wow, and Vexit going side by side into turn 6 there, almost clipped wheels. That would have been bad for Vexit if he would have actually touched. Will they touch some more? This slows down, and Luca forced to continue. And actually, there's a move there. It's not a move, it's just someone going into the pit. Sorry, back to the front. You see Vexit. Will he go for a move? No. He's too far. I shouldn't be saying will he go for a move. So yeah, see, medium runners are starting to box now for these soft compact tires. So I'd say these medium tires will be worn out as well as the softs. So Ozone, or not Ozone, sorry, Ruthful is catching up. So if they do box, he will be able to get the lead. And Vexit sends one, but well blocks it off. Let's see, gap to leader. So yeah, so Ruthful is a pit stop clear of these guys. He'll even be 5-6 seconds ahead as well. Loses the back end there by shifting down way too quickly. Will Vexit have a better run? I don't think he does. A little bit of a call there, sorry if you heard that. Okay, right, sorry, stream was a bit laggy there on the back. Don't worry about it. It should be fine now. Ooh, Vexit going all sorts of sideways there, heading out. And actually, Luca is able to get the move down the inside. He gets the move done, and actually, there's a ghosted car there, I presume of R10, who's going inside of him. It is costly, though, I will admit. It's not easy driving with a holographic car in front of you. Actually, there's another move there. GC Fungus on a move on... Oh, not GC Fungus, there's another Mercedes. But he's lapped. Ah! Sorry. So will you see Luca sending one? No. So I'd say the soft runner of Vexit will want to box as soon as he possibly can. No, he's actually staying out. Very interesting strategies. I'd say the mediums, yeah, no, the mediums will be able to go to the end. No problem now. With 7 laps left, I doubt you want to box now with the mediums. With the softs, though, will we see him box again? I don't know. Ooh, that's actually Luca, who's gone completely wide and got given a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. Futuristic is getting blue flags, so you will want to get out of the way as soon as possible. The top 3 now are clear of the lapped cars. Luca once again going wide and once again getting a 3-second time penalty. So Luca there already off the bat 6 seconds, but I'm pretty sure he does have more, so he could have a 12-second time penalty for all I know. So not looking good at all for him. We'll have to see how time penalties do go towards the end of the race as well. Oh, Luca going for a little sniff there. We'll stay back here as we can see them quite nicely. But we will not actually, because it's a terrible camera view. We'll stick with Vexit, and Luca manages to get provisional P1, but I doubt he'll keep P1 if it finishes like this, because he needs to be at least, from what I could tell, 9 seconds ahead of WoW in order to keep his P1, or at least 6 if WoW has a 3-second time penalty. But WoW will want to finish on track P1 as there are 5 laps left of this race. Let's see exactly what happens. Is Cosman there on the back gets a 3-second time penalty, and Luca is under pressure now from his P1. And as well as there's Vexit on the back. Will he go for a move? No, he stays behind. He stays cautious. He stays safe. He stays safe. Whoa, Luca completely lagged back, and that's cost him his P2. So he's gonna have to redo all the work he's just done due to lag. Actually, Ruthful there. All over the back of R3. David has left the session. I don't know why, but he has. And Ruthful into provisional P6 of this race. And there's a yellow flag, and that's actually Pandakoi who's lost it and who's binned it and who's put it into the wall. And that's his right end plate gone. unlucky for him, or not, he's running up. That's a bit of wing damage, but not enough to suggest a pit stop now, I'd say. Heading back to this battle. Well, looks like he is clear, but do keep in mind he is on these soft copper tires, fix it. So he will be losing the back end quite a bit now. It's a very interesting final 4 laps. I'd say we will get 5 laps, sorry. Will we see Wow and Vexit? Well, will we see Luca Vexit get P1? Sorry there for no voice. Will we see? Ooh, Luca is getting close, and he will go down the inside, heading into turn 6 once again. He gets the move done. Vexit under immense pressure now. You will want to catch up. Oh, I thought that was fire. I don't know why. I thought that was a VFX fire effect, but no, it was just a McLaren going through Vexit. I don't know why I thought that, but I did. Luca. So yeah, Luca and Wow are starting to pull away now. So these soft copper tires are screwing Vexit over a bit now. They did work well for first few laps, and that's actually the McLaren of R10 that we just saw bin it. He was already in P15. I'd say we'll see a retirement there at the bottom. No, he's gonna keep going. Could be a VSC. But no, it seems to be fine. And Vexit boxing. It's been on, I'd say, a new set of softs. I think, yeah, Ruthful and Yasin and David and everyone there will be able to catch up. So I think Vexit just binned his podium. I don't know why Vexit boxed, but I think he just binned his podium. Yasin rounding the final corners now. So is Ozone and, or not Ozone, sorry, David and R3. So it might come out in P7. Let's just see what happens. He's already in P4. Ooh, and that's actually, sorry, it's Vessel and Pixel. Once again, that heated battle from earlier has yet to end. They've rammed into each other once again. And yeah, that's Vexit, who's into P7. He's been his P3. And that's Ruthful in provisional P4. So if Yasin makes a mistake now, Ruthful in the end might be able to get his podium position. I'll have to see these two though, if they spin or they do anything silly. Let's go back towards the back here. We should have the gap interval there. This is a bit easier on the eye. It's Vessel who's sailing past Pixel. It gives him a nice squeeze there at the end. You can definitely tell that these two are heated. And Pixel going into the pits because of it. Does not slow down at all. Goes into P5 and retires from the session. So 2 laps to go, or 3 laps, sorry. 3 laps to go. Will we see a last lap overtake? But Luca does have quite a few penalties, but Yasin is 20 seconds behind. So unless if Luca has higher than a 20-second time penalty, he should be able to keep his P2. Head a bit towards the back, see if we see anyone or anything fighting. No one's really fighting too much. Just these two who are close to each other. Actually, that's Vexit, who's on the back there of R3. Sends one down the inside on R3. R3 forced to give away. That was really big dive bomb there. So we'll have to see how penalties affect the racers towards the end. Goes wide once again. Yasin is catching up. To see Just have to see by how much a lap toward the end. As the second to last lap of the Grand Prix. The R3 there getting a 5-second time penalty. Unfortunate for him indeed. There's an air yellow flag, and let's see who's that. Is that Cosbin? That was someone who spun, but you can get to see it. Ooh. See about whoa! I see Vixit all over the back end there of David. Stay with him for this lap. Actually, no, we won't. Luca is gaining quite a bit on. Wow, would he be able to dive? No, he won't. Go as they go side by side, heading after right before Maggots. It'll still go side by side, heading into Maggots and Beckett's. They're still side by side, heading into Beckett's, and they're still side by side exiting. Well, not really side by side, but his front wing's still there. And Beckett does get DRS. Or no one's got DRS. They were so side by side that the game couldn't really judge who got DRS, but they're both out of ERS completely. Yeah, they're literally both out of ERS, using all the track there. So the final lap here, we should probably go to these two for the final lap and see exactly what happens. Badminton gets the move done on Vessel there at the back. We're gonna go back. Yeah, that was the move done. I was a little late to the party. Sorry, guys. We'll stay with these two on the final lap of this British Grand Prix. Only 2 people DNF'd. Not bad. But our 10 getting lapped. Ooh, Luca using as much of the track as he possibly can. He is completely out of ERS. Wow, still does have quite a bit of ERS left to play with. But Luca doesn't care. He's staying in overtake mode the whole time. He wants to get past. But he will run completely out of ERS after this straight, I'd say. Look at the bottom right there, taking from 3. We're staying in 3. Seems to be going up a bit, but I think Wow will come across the final few corners now with a smile on his face. I don't know penalties, so I don't want to jinx it. But as it stands, Wow comes across the line to win the British Grand Prix. Luca following behind him. But Luca has an unserved time penalty, so will we see Yasin sneak himself into P2, and maybe Ruthful being able to sneak himself into P3? Let's see. So Yasin crossing the line now, sneaks himself onto P3. That's as much as we can ask for. And Ruthful from P19 to P4. What a race from Ruthful. Vexit into P5, David into P6, R3 into P7. Maple coming around the final corner now to take P8. Polar Haze, who's a few seconds behind, 10 seconds behind actually, who comes across the final line to take P9. KK Hunter is next. He cuts the corner. Will get a point this race. So KK Hunter, look at the bright side. He did spin on the first lap. We did see him completely out and spun. Maybe not as good as a recovery as Ruthful did, but finishing in the points is pretty good nonetheless. KK Hunter, and actually R10 with the fastest lap there at the end with a 128. Panico is sneaking himself into P12, and then the rest were not there. So here's the podium. Here's the infamous podium there with Wow in first, Lucas second, and Yasin in third. So that was it for the British Grand Prix. Hope you guys enjoy that. So once again, your final standings. Wow in first place, Luca second, third goes to Essen around the podium. Following by them, we have Ruthful. After a great recovery there, I'd say he'll be my driver of the day. Ruthful, Vex at P5, David P6, R3 P7, Maple P8, Polaris P9, Kiki Hunter P10 to round off the points finishing. Then outside the points we have Pentecoy, Juicy Fungus, SOR, Futuristic, Lewis Bamington, and Wessel following by last place, Cosmin62 and R10, and Pixel and Almighty retiring. So hope you guys have a wonderful end to your St. Patrick's Day if you do celebrate that wherever in the world you are. Hope this race was pretty fun. I sure had a good time. Once again, my driver of the day goes to the man himself, Ruthful, who from P19 to P4. And then your podium, Wow, Luca, and Yasin. Have a wonderful day, guys, and I'll see you all in the next week.